ghostly mark. Cobwebs twine and shadows dance in this twilight somber trance. Candles flicker, weary wicks, ancient echoes, time's cruel tricks. Marble figures, frozen pose, amidst the silence sorrow grows. Whispering shadows, secrets keep in the depths where night meets sleep. Underneath the velvet gloom, guardians of the haunted room. Chandeliers and crystal tears reflect forgotten yesteryears, softly chanting distant cries. Through the arches sorrow sighs. Gargoyles watch with stony gaze, guardians of endless maze. Pipe organ's breath begins to rise, filling air with mournful ties. Whispering shadows, secrets keep in the depths where night meets sleep. Underneath the velvet gloom, guardians of the haunted room.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another ridiculous writing stream. Underwater chaotic nonsense with crabs and titans and God knows what else. I'm Lady Red of the Black Pants Legion. I'm here, I'm on time, I'm proud of myself, and with any luck, we also have a lictor. Are you here, lictor?
And also I'm a lictor.
You
Yes.
are a
Observe
lictor.
my fastest.
Hopefully you are nice and clear for chat and our sound levels are behaving themselves this week. I've changed precisely 0 things since last week, but that never means anything. I see many crabs in chat. This makes me very happy. Very
Yes,
happy.
well, it's
Laticles and crabs are war crimes, oh my. Yes, that's kind of the theme for our streams, the nonsense we get up to. How have you been this week, chat? Have you done good? I'm quiet and Lictor's loud. Problem has reappeared. Excellent! I've changed nothing. Let me see what I can fix.
I am loud.
Lictor will be loud now. Is that any better,
Yes.
chat? Have I fixed things?
I have installed the loud hailer straight into my Larynx.
Up to 2021 reading about Snout's escapades. The poor guy is a wild ride. I'm glad you're still enjoying it, Bully Snake. I'm very, very, very happy to hear that you're still enjoying that. It's one of those things that I think is a genuine pleasure in life, is enjoying something and then being able to find people who've never heard of it and convince them to try it, and then they like it too, and you're just like, yes, I have made the world a better place. At least for one person.
I will point at Subnautica and
Yes.
point out that not only I have played it, my son have played it as well.
That makes me incredibly happy, because Subnautica is a wonderful, wonderful game. And very much has inspired a lot of the things that we've done here, or at least helped guide us down the path of figuring out our own things.
Indeed. Also, three-eyed fish machines.
Three-eyed fish machines, yes. Do you want to send me all the pieces that you've done recently directly by DM, so I can find them easily? And I will dump them in a folder, and we can show them to chat, and chat can talk about your awesome work.
I can definitely do so.
Zork says, I am here to cause problems and commit crimes against shoal manatee. Yes, please leave the pool of shoal manatees alone. They might be endangered. We haven't decided yet.
Yes.
I do have
Zork.
some things to show you of my own this week as well, chat, so I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm very excited.
More art.
Yes, Lichter hasn't even seen it yet.
I have not. Zork, I will toss you to the silence.
Which version? Alright, let me start saving these.
The doldrums. They hurt more. Doctor Who, you're never late. You're always on time. You and your food.
That goes in there.
I will try. I will give it my darnest. I will put you down in the crimson whirl and see if what takes you first. The doldrums or the lightning.
Right, okay, I've got those.
Which
saved.
reminds me, you do need to grab a physicist to find out how do we make underwater lightning happen.
We just say that underwater lightning happens and justify it through psionics and coral crystals later, because that is the joy of, not having too hard of a science system and being able to do a little bit of nonsense. We will figure it out.
Of course,
we
but...
will make lightning underwater.
Yes, of course, but please, one of life's few true pleasures. Be like the Vortigons. Grab a physicist. Make them kill an enormous amount of creatures. Also, does human Mav... What's Mav?
Mav is somebody who streamed on the channel a while ago, who has not been available for a while, but hopefully we will get Mav back at some point and convince him to go and look for Jonesy the cat in Alien Isolation again, because that was hilarious.
What? Ambassador on show. I figure his crab walking ways help him fit in. It might also be a little bit insensitive to the locals, or it might look like fun. Also, plasma lightning strikes. Please elucidate me to non-plasma.
What
lightning
I
strikes
think
as.
would be cool is if we have underwater lightning strikes during the meteor showers when Shoal is passing through the rings of Lua. Because it only happens in such a dangerous time, even the Shoaly don't entirely understand the science behind it and how it works. Then we don't have to over-justify anything. To answer some of the things in chat, yes, we still have a dude to finish. We also have Titans to design. We have many things to do this week, and it's going to be fun. And then we have next week, which is also going to be fun. And then the week after that, I will not be here, because I had considered on Halloween, because it's Halloween, it would have been cool to either do the Devil May Cry rant or to do something from Location Redacted, because that's where I will be. And then I did a kind of good thing for me. I remembered that this is my first vacation with Aiden at the same time in literal years, probably a decade. So I decided I'm going to enjoy my vacation and not be here on Halloween. But we will do something cool the week following.
Okay. If we have enough homework, maybe I'll grab the seat and see if anybody wants to chat about anything. But that's for later planning.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of unusual planning and show times that week. I believe the only person who's directly doing their stream as normal from Location Redacted is the good Doctor Who has he has plans. So it should be fun. Underwater lightning is caused by magic moon eels. I mean, it wouldn't be outside of my remit to do something that ridiculous. I have written something very strange in my Heavener setting that would scratch that particular itch, but that's more That's more of a fantasy setting than the sci-fantasy we have here, so that wouldn't work.
Nope.
Do we have a title for this first story? Not yet, and I think coming up with a good title, we can give it an interim title that might end up being the long-term title. But from my experience when I'm writing books, I don't know what the book's actual title is. Title is until I'm usually drafting the third act. And then I'll kind of know, oh no, this is what the title needs to be. And that's the great thing, is you can change the title as many times as you like while you're still writing it. All right, so
I don't think they eat lobsters in Iraq. I'm sorry.
is this Tide Warden dude the one that gets got by the silence? We were feeling that way last week, but we hadn't finalised that decision. So let's look at where we're at for now. I think the first thing we'll do is we'll look at Lichter's art. Because Lichter's been doing cool things, and while Lichter is describing to you guys the cool things that he's made, it will let me finish the food that I'm eating that I should have finished before stream. So,
Hell yeah!
all right, that
While
was
I'm eating
Tired German's wonderful latical work from last week, and because it fits, I am now just going to edit what it's showing, and it should cause me to have less work to do. Let us start with this one. We'll make it a bit. Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. Don't do that. OBS, give me the thing I actually want to resize. Thank you. There we go. What's this, Lichter? Tell us about this.
That's a pocket relic. It's a bunch of coral wrapped on another piece of coral that you hold, and it latches onto your brain and shows you something. That is my rendition of what a transmissible piece of Temps coral looks like. Just a bunch of actual coral with the Temps contained within the slightly fractured orby thing in the middle.
I have
So
meant to
that's,
ask you when I first
that's
saw
a
this
book.
if
Yes,
this
that's
was Temps, but yeah, that's a book.
That's a book.
I love that.
That's a book. That's essentially a book. You just pick it up and you use it for stuff.
I love it. That is now canonically one of the many forms books come in.
Yep. It's roughly palm-sized for a laticle.
All right.
And it has all these things around it, so the cephalinids can grab it as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
the
it's nice
Sholi
and
do
grippy.
ponder their orbs.
It's nice and grippy.
Yes,
And I
the
can ponder the
Sholi-
orb. That's amazing. Yes. Let us cross the
Yes,
streams.
yes. Pondering the orb.
All right.
So that's one of the things.
What's this?
They can. Oh, that's a rendition of a shield made out of bioresin, and it has a cephalinid war symbol in the middle, which just happens to be related to evil dragons. Because we're an ass, and I did it in the Alps with a bunch of people. So yeah, that was me drawing a crystal, and I just said, hey, what would that's essentially a hoplon, but in Sholi bioresin, and since we didn't want to use the Spartan symbol, we used the something cephalinids would recognize.
Doctor Who says, human Jake.
Yeah.
So it's a book from Paul Sholi. Book? No, it shows you the experiences and images of the creator and lets you talk to a psychic imprint of their being. Jake. So a book. Followed by a long suffering sigh from the Sholi.
Imagine Jake being stuck there and saying, "That's a comic book. It has pictures in it." You're a bunch of comic addicts. Zeppelin flipping the bird. Yes, Wilf.
Alright, let me bring up another one. Let's go for this one next. What's this?
Let's see. Okay. This is one of the things that live in the Crimson Wall. This little thingy is a convergent evolution of many things. Of course, it has some crabulation, crustination thing. It has whatchamacallit. It has copper wires going up the tails up into everything. Oh, hello. We have a new someone decided to follow. Hello, Dark
Somebody
Void.
who's made a
Welcome.
terrible decision. Welcome in, Dark Void. It's lovely to see you. Welcome to
Yes.
WBPL 76, the streaming arm of the Black Pants Legion, if you've not been here before. We're currently doing a writing and world building stream and looking at some wonderful art Lictor has done for our setting. But we do all sorts of things here, whether it's gaming, whether it's cooking shows, whether it's mini painting, and we have a public facing Discord, the auxiliary, where you are welcome to have your madness interact with our own. Please do come on in. We do everything.
Yes. Doctor Who indeed cooks and builds Legos,
Yes.
not often at the same time and not on the same stove. Yes, it could be a little bit of a steampunk circling. Essentially, it attracts lightning through the copper wires in its tail, and it sees by being one of those creatures that have eyesight based on crystalline lenses, which actually happened in our world as well. Which is kind of funny. Not everyone has gelatinous lenses in their eyes. Some defunct branch of evolution actually had crystal lenses
Trilobites.
for eyes.
Trilobites, dude.
Yes, terrifying, just fucking terrifying.
I would
Okay,
also
so
I'd like you to know I breathe my food and I'm dying.
no dying, no
Too late.
suffocation. It is no, it's against the law. We talked about this. It's a shock roller. Yes, this thing essentially goes around and being its happy little lightning attracting lightning rod. It's a lightning rod, just walking and being happy about it. Send in the necromancer? No, we'll only necrodancers in our house. You don't romance any necks, you dance them. Only necrodancers.
Oh, okay, I'm good.
Yes,
I can
Dr.
breathe
Who.
again.
Yes, good.
No, I love this little guy. It's been a quiet pleasure of mine to watch how certain convergent things have happened, and you know you found your tribe when certain people have similar ideas to you, because you've designed this awesome critter, and he has a copper wire that goes up the back of his sort of tail that comes out of his very awesome body, and he looks great. And one of the things that you want is that, you know, that can attract lightning, underwater lightning, etc. In my personal setting, Hevner, the way to ground magic, which travels in storms, is through copper. Now, I don't have living beasts with copper wire through them, but I just love when people go, I've got a convergent idea, and apply it in different ways, and you see things translated through other people's lenses, and it just makes me so happy. I love writing, I love world building, and I love chat.
Yes, chat is excellent, and chat is partially to blame.
Oh, chat's to blame for everything. It's always chat's fault.
Yes, especially the cephalonid war mark. That's definitely up them.
Yes. But it uses its tail as a shock stinger as well? Absolutely.
I mean, it could. No reason why it can't. I mean, you skewer it through something fleshy, and then you let the lightning cook it, and then you eat it.
Yep. And a really good deterrent for predators. Have fun, Dark Boy. Thank you for popping in, and we will hopefully see you again in the future. All right, let's pull up another one that you did for us. Bully says I take full responsibility for the Droptopus and Tomb. So you should.
So I should. Blame chat, praise Zord, become crab. No, I will not become crab.
All right, what's this?
We'll see. One moment. Ah, yes. This is the three-eyed light. This is the candle drone. This is what happens when people tell me take a shark whale and make it into a well, something that sheds light. Essentially, it's just a tiny drone that helps you see in the dark. I imagine Jake having one of these when he's trying to look into things in the underwater ruins, and it's just like it's very at the same time mechanical, as you can see from all the lines and streamlines, and the fact that it has three little engines on its back, but also it's built like somebody should try to capture it and eat it in Subnautica.
Yes.
Essentially.
It's like a ghost from Destiny. Yes, except it probably doesn't talk to you quite as much.
I mean, when I talked about it with our friend with Ed, we thought about that the AI that humans carry with them, the familiars,
Mm-hmm.
need bodies to move around and to have wider range of capacity.
Yeah.
So this can definitely be a host to a familiar that just follows you around and looks at things and scans them and tells you stuff.
The wonderful thing about it, though, is it will never tell you that the moon is haunted because Shoal is the moon and it's haunted by awesome things.
Yes, I agree. Ed, it's not surely human hybrid tech, it's forestal tech. Essentially, this is what the forestals will build for the familials. It's...
Or at least one variant thereof.
Hmm?
Alrighty, let
Alright,
me pull up.
okay, I'm going to become less loud as I have, as my neighbors have decided that they don't want to hear about our awesome stuff. So I will become quiet now.
How dare they?
Yes. Oh, hello, Digimon. The anti-Diggs has joined. No, Red, we've been over this.
I know,
No
I have
choking.
to breathe, stop dying. No, why is it that I meet new people, I make friends with new people, and like within 3 months they have joined the cult of no, you're not allowed to die?
I've been in that cult before I ever met you. In our set of rules in the house, we have rule number 1, don't die. Sub rule number 2, small clause 1.2, do not choke. No suffocation allowed.
Oh dear.
I mean, the way I see it, Ed, if they have a good printer and some idiot with too much spare time, designing this should be relatively easy. It's not it's not a complicated system, and vector thrust systems should be one of the first techs in their tree when they start settling on Shoal.
Let's move over to this one. What is this?
Yeah. We'll check in a moment. Oh, that's a fusion battery. It has the soul of a little star and wants to get plugged into something and cause energy to move. it's essentially me looking at a whatchamacallit, the nautiloids.
Yes.
Looking at an nautiloid and saying, what would happen if someone would like to shove it into another thing and make it go? Brrr.
I love the concept of it, and when Shoaly build things, they build it in shapes that are familiar and useful to them. I mean, we use triangles and squares and etc. because they work so well in our world and living on the surface and load bearing and etc. Streamlining is going to be just a core thing that really matters to Shoaly. So making things in shapes that are streamlined, I love it. It makes me very happy. Zork, you would say convenient bomb.
I will say also that I'm always trying to think how a cephalonid will grab anything.
Yes.
They don't have opposable thumbs. However, they have many limbs. So you'll notice that the orange part and the red parts have protrusions.
Yes.
That allow the cephalonid to grab them and plug them into stuff.
Yeah, and I imagine that things will also have quite textured surfaces, that they're things that need to be gripped well are rough, so that the suckers on a tentacle can grip them nice and tight, because octopuses and squid can grab things scarily tight.
Yeah, but it's the fine manipulation and the range of multi-directional joints. So yeah, and you need, and essentially what they'll do is they'll give their objects multiple grabbable protrusions, unlike because a human can grab the hilt of a sword and it's essentially a stick.
Yeah.
And they can do whatever you want. A ceratinoid, a cephalonid would need 2 or 3 points of contact in order to grab it, but they have enough limbs to be able to grab 2 or 3 things and control them in a 3-dimensional manner in a good way.
Yes.
It's just.
Ed is asking, is this fusion as in nuclear fusion or just chemical?
It's a. I mean, I imagine that to be the equivalent of the fusion battery that you put in a Fallout power armor. So it's not quite as powerful as a fusion power plant, but it does have an electrical charge that will absolutely emulsify everyone in the room.
Let's not crack this thing open. Alrighty. I think that's all the ones you've sent me for now. I think
All
what
5 of them,
we
yes.
might do next is, seeing as we've been talking about shapes and etc., we might click over to have a look at some of the art I've done, because I think that will
Yes.
lead us into what we need to do today and give people the correct mindset and ideas in mind for talking about some of what we need to talk about today. UNC Samurai, currently on a 5-stream streak and needs to get up to pee at some point. Please, go use the restroom! We love you, you don't have to be here for every stream. Please go to see to your biological needs. This Nautilus Tired German is a fusion battery. Lictor's been doing some drawing for us. Introspective 90 says, you can get shivved on the tube by a crab that looks just like how it would back in London, but he's shivving you because you stepped on the production floor without proper hazmat gear. Yes. I'm
Yes,
down
that's
for
true.
ceratinoids often having much more blocky designs to their architecture, etc., etc. I think we did that when we were doing the city section, which is wonderful.
Yeah, they do have mass public transportation systems
Right now,
and living next to your own production. Yes, now let's go look at some good art.
if I have been clever, I should click one button and we should see the right thing. Let's see if I can manage to be pro streamer. Hey, pro streamer strats. There we go. Things worked. Hooray!
Hooray, huzzah!
So-
Amazing!
I have been very
Amazing.
busy with work
Wow.
this year, and I haven't drawn enough mechs, and I haven't given Shoal as much time as I've wanted to give it. There are so many things I want to do. I spent yesterday drawing mechs.
Wow!
I take it you like these.
I am in awe.
So this is
Is
just
that
a
Benny at the bottom left?
No,
Or is
no.
this
Though I
something new?
was using Benny as a thought, because of course I showed Benny at the beginning of stream, and Benny is a very unique mech. Benny's very special.
Benny is very unique to us.
But so to talk about what I was thinking about while I was working on all of this. So I said I had some good news to people in the Orcs, for those who saw it, and the good news is the massive project that I'm currently working on, and admittedly having an absolute blast doing. The deadline for that is a little bit further back than I thought it would be, and I'm almost halfway through it. So I'm planning on spending next week working on the initial work for a personal commission somebody wants, but also I just want to spend some time on Shoal. I want to do some updates, I want to write things out, I want to get things in a position where everybody who is collaborating and contributing to this can see everything we've done so far in a more updated form. So my plan next week is Shoal, and I want to draw some more mech variants because this is 6 out of a planned 7, 8, 9, 10, about 15 different shape forms that I had in mind. So I want to offer some of my art to the setting as well, and I have next week to just spend some real time on Shoal. So that's my good news. But where I was at mentally when I was working on this is we have the benefit of having more than one person working on this setting, and we have more than one set of talents. We're not just writing a book, we have people here who are artists and visual people. We know we want to illustrate our compendium when it is complete. Potentially, we could make comics in the Shoal setting. We could make animations in the Shoal setting. We could make very high effort shitposts in the Shoal setting. So I was thinking about Shoal instead of from the writer perspective, which is where I'm normally at, but I wanted to think about it from the visual perspective. And I was having a think about other popular mech settings as a result. One of the things that makes mech settings, I think, so interesting for people who are into that, especially with anime, etc., is you have these very unique what-if shapes that you can instantly recognize. Whether you're looking at the smoother panel work of something like Gundam versus the very intricate detail that you can get in some of the other sets. I mean, when you look at some of Battletech's art, some of it, you've got real, especially when you've got people like the wonderful Eldonius working on things, the cutaways of exactly how the mechanics work versus settings that don't go into that quite so much, but still give you these forms where you can suspend disbelief and figure it out how you want it to be. But each setting will generally have like a unique element to it that makes it instantly recognizable. I mean, when you think of Gundam Wing, you're thinking of that specific face play and some of the characters that you've got. There are other settings where they're very careful to make sure that their mecha are designed so that you've got a cockpit where you can see the human characters through the cockpit, because that's where your focus is. If you're looking at Evangelion, you've got that big spike on the front of Shinji's Eva that's very unique, and of course the color schemes that they chose. So I was thinking visually of strong silhouettes, unique looking mecha, and of course the fact that we have a very broad setting with 5 different species. We've got into the different forms that our cities use, how our different species interact with the world. I really wanted to bring in some interesting visual elements to our Titans as we start to put more work into them. What does an industrial mech look like versus a Royal Guard that's not designed to do anything other than look impressive, versus a Tide Warden that's designed to be able to repel Leviathans, versus, of course, one of the things we've been talking about is our Latical main character, Umi, who was a communications specialist. And while I wouldn't say that I've designed his Titan that he used to pilot, that got me thinking in some different shape forms as well. You'll see in the bottom middle there, I've got one that looks like a jellyfish. And I was thinking of that one as, a psionic intel unit. Its design is purely to be able to pick up things going on in the water around it, rather than necessarily needing to find, manipulate, and interact with things. But that's not to say, we don't make the tentacles stinging or whatever. But that was where my brain was at. I was thinking of shape language. I was thinking of unique silhouettes. My first 3, I was like, bipedal. I want to make some bipedal mechs and go from there, because bipedal is recognizable to humanity. And I would like to make sure that we have at least one bipedal mech in our first story, because again, we're wanting to make that connection with our audience, and doing it with things that they can easily visualize will help us to draw them in. But I wanted to do some quadrupeds, some that are purely swimming, some that use tails for motion. I want to do some that have jet propulsion. I've got all these ideas. I want one that looks like a shark puppy, because that would just be cute.
Like Jeff, I will chime in here and
Go for it.
say it's very in tune with what we want to do today about Titans, I think we need to think about taxonomy.
Yes.
I think we need taxonomy. Like in BattleTech, we had the quad max and we have the regular max. We have the overwhelming majority of just bipedal max, and we have the light, medium, heavy, and assault max. While in mostly anime shows, mech is more of a case by case situation. You don't have an entire military built on them, and on show, and I believe I've said it before in chat, in stream, we need to think about taxonomy. We need to think about classes where propulsion systems are one of the. I had a little bit of a thought about it, and Titans should have at least 3 taxonomies to them. There has to be the propulsion, there has to be the main usage, like what are they doing? Are they a combat mech? Are they a communication titan? Are they a work titan? Or are they, as you've said, the royal god could very well be a morale or indeed more of a showpiece than anything else.
Just a second. What we'll do is we'll flick briefly back over to Scrivener and let me pull up a note. I'm going to put it into. Where do I want to put these notes?
Because the moment we have a system of thinking about this, we can get into. We can let loose all these amazing.
Yeah, we can start classifying things. So
we can start pinpointing the holes.
Okay, so let's first of all break down what types we have. So you've said that we should be defining them by their propulsion.
It's like there's a incredible difference if it swims or walks.
Yep.
Or both.
Yeah, propulsion, usage, and maybe weight class.
Could be weight class, psionic resonance. Like, are they aggressors or civilian or
let's go into
resonators?
Propulsion.
Because we want to put
describes how the Titan moves. So, what would our examples of this be? We would have walkers.
We would have walkers, we would have swimmers, we would have jets.
Swimmers. Jets.
Quads, swimmers, jets, and if you want to be very unique about it, you can also have magnetic levitation.
What I'm going to put under there is exotic, so that we can have things like maglev, some kind of crawler. If it doesn't fit in the other ones, it fits in the exotic tag.
Awesome.
Everything that doesn't fit above. Okay, so usage. We know that we will have combat mechs, and I'm going to put in brackets here, sports mechs tend to, because we know we have a big sport mech scene because of one of the wars that we've written up. But I think sports mechs tend to be the same chassis, just worked differently.
It's the same level of, it's the same specs, but different amount of, but different equipment.
We know we are going to have communication mechs.
We do have communication.
And I'm going to put in here
mechs.
Includes psionic relays. Because that's just normal communication to Sholey, so I don't think they'd have that as a separate classification.
Absolutely.
Sentinels.
Sentinels.
These will be decorative. I'm going to put that in inverted commas. Decorative mechs like Royal Guards.
Praetorians.
Yeah, static emplacement units that don't really move. Praetorians, etc. Okay, what else should we have?
We should also have civilian or construction, heavy
Industrial, okay.
lifters.
Industrial. This will include agri-mechs, forge mechs.
Bully Snake, I am not agreeing with you. When you're going into when you have the level of armor you need for different living beings to survive in different depths, the adaptations are pretty extreme. And if you transport mechs, I mean, every mech is a transport mech unless it's Sentinel.
I'm thinking more transports in terms of, it carries multiple mechs or carries large amounts of people, but it has an awakened personality. I'm thinking not just it's a mech that can carry, but it's a mech that is designed to carry way more. It's a carrier.
It's a mothership.
Yes.
So, yeah. I mean, yeah. Good heavens. Train mech. Well,
Train
here's the thing.
I mean, that would be a transport mech.
Train mech becomes a train wreck.
I would be down for us
Reassembles
having
it.
a train mech, and it would be really interesting if maybe in one of our calmer parts of the world, you have a transitionary train track that goes from the land into the water.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why not?
Research mechs, yeah, there would be, but would research mechs have their own bracket, or would they come under industrial mechs because they're a working mech?
I think that depends on what you call research. What do you do with research? I mean, if it's information gathering, which is most research, then they fall under communication. If they're just moving stuff apart, then it's industrial.
Yeah, okay, so they'll be split between those depending on where it belongs.
I might say that one of the communication mechs might also be hub mechs, which entire idea is that they have a much higher than normal processing power.
Okay.
Okay. Tangent.
Yes.
Tangent warning. Communication mechs are not so much about amplifying and relaying data, in so much they are capable of keeping everything running smoothly. Remember, Sholey don't have programming the way we do, and they do not work on radio the way we do.
Yeah.
They work with psionic ebb and flow of the song, so being able to direct the correct transmission to the correct location and being able to do that is a thing of skill and learned technology. It's not just having the right sort of equipment bolted on your Titan. So a relay mech is essentially highly trained and very advanced in telecommunication. Like, remember, this is the part that makes it different from just being an underwater battle tech.
Mm-hmm.
So, because if you try, I double dare you to find a way to reliably send transmissions beyond the flux state of between layers of depth and salinity of the ocean. This is going to scrambulate everything. The fact that they can do. Eric, they can transmit everything. So they can do everything between garbled notions, which is what children do when they play with each other before adulthood, and they can go up to transmitting entire complete memories and scenarios when they are utilizing technology and tricks of using temp squirrel.
Yeah, but you have to. I think what can psionics transmit? Potentially, literally everything. What can the individual thing you're looking at receive is where the limitation is. So a coral, the larger it gets, the more it can retain, which is why the Grand Banks have these giant coral libraries inside them that are tended and maintained and etc. But when you've got individually shoally talking to each other, especially as mind reading is a horrifying prospect, they get feelings from each other and not much more, unless it's sort of directly sent. And it's why language still has a place. So it's the limitation is in what can you receive, not in what can psionics send.
Yep. It's this is a discussion onto the side. I'll try and give I will try and give an actual text to help facilitate. But if we'll get on that tangent, we'll be here all night and we won't get anywhere with the fun stuff, which is mechs.
All right, let's get back to looking at our Titans. Weight class, I think we keep weight class very simple and easy to understand. They are either heavies, they are mediums, or they're light.
Yeah.
We will also have flitters. What I'm thinking of in terms of flitters is this is an entirely very small use case. Small, because we're talking purely about Titans here. Small Titans for civilian transport.
Okay.
Where we have that going on, this will be something that wouldn't come into the normal weight class because they are purely designed just to get people from A to B. And I'm especially thinking about, if we're thinking about, space stuff and things in the future, just having that little side class that doesn't have to fit under the others, I think might be useful to us in writing later.
What?
Oh, yeah. We can have super
Titan?
Heavies for dredgers. That's fine.
I like the word dredgers because it implies the nautical theme of us that we're using, which is cool.
There we go.
What separates a Titan from any large machine?
Well, let's get into this. So I think that's where our resonance description will help us with this. I think for resonance, because what makes a Titan is that it uses interfacing coral relays to coordinate its end effectors, its limbs, and of course interact with the pilot. So to be a Titan, let me write this up the top. A machine is a Titan if it needs a pilot, and it needs coral to use all of its systems. Do we need anything else for it to qualify as a Titan?
No, I think
I think that's just the two things. Yeah. If it needs a pilot but doesn't need coral, it's just a machine. If coral is used to transmit signals from an onboard computer brain and it doesn't need a pilot, it's also not a Titan. It's just a machine because it's pre-programmed.
Okay.
But resonance. We will have
resonance. Resonance is kind of like weight class, but for psionic weight.
So what I'm thinking is we have basic, we have awakened. So basic is non-paragon Titans, no personality on board.
Yeah.
Awakened is paragon. They develop their own personality. Then maybe we have principles, aged or extremely psionically powerful Titans, very complex personality. How do we feel about that?
I would add one more.
Sure. What are you thinking?
Not principle. One moment. I'm looking for the word that I want for a titan whose resonance is complicated enough because it has more than one Temps coral core.
Okay.
Either chimera or amalgamated.
I like chimeric.
Because
Chimeric titans sound good.
fractal is also nice, but chimeric titans because one of the ideas I had that I think is cool is if you take a Temps coral, the core of it, and amalgamate it and breed it into a different chassis, and you get increasingly more sophisticated because then a Titan can, unlike us humans, can be they don't they don't have too much of a problem reconciling different memory banks. They're very good at it, otherwise they won't be able to grow to the size they can. Yeah. To take from the Portuguese man of war, exactly, a colony. Yeah, no, and then they can integrated titans.
Okay.
Colony. So again, there's the age group, like dragons, like it's a young, adult, and an old and aged. But then we have those titans that have multiple parts in them.
Okay. So I think that lets us break down our titans pretty well.
Yeah.
Got our titans.
So this is the Titan taxonomy. So now let's go back to your amazing drawings and let's try and figure out how do we classify the Titans that you gave us along these lines and see what we can find out.
Alright, so admittedly, of course, I wasn't having those thoughts while I was doing this. My thoughts were in other places. But I know somebody said that the bottom right looked like a sentinel. That is what I was thinking, is some kind of sort of royal guard.
Yeah.
That was where I was at with that.
That's a mecha mermaid right there.
Yes. The top right was going to be, sort of it could be a sentinel again, but I was thinking, more sort of very standard ceratinoid shell. That would be good for combat, etc. And of course, I've drawn these as like the basic forms that I was thinking of, but you can mount missile racks on the shoulders, you could have heat guns, weaponry that they can either carry in hands or not. We can add more limbs to some of these. Bottom left, I was thinking of an industrial mech that's just so universal that it could do everything. You could either fit, industrial equipment to that. You could fit a giant gun on the back of it if you wanted to. I was thinking of something low and sturdy and etc.
So that's one. The top,
Yes.
left and right
Yes.
are bipedal.
Yep. So is the top middle is bipedal. It just has a load of tentacles in the way.
No, I see it's, but I think it's a combi. I think that the nodaloid shape also might be hiding a jet behind.
Yeah, I mean, when I was drawing that one, I was thinking about the big spiral cone on the head, maybe containing psionic resonance centers. So it could be a communications mech.
Yeah, it could definitely be a communication. For instance, the top middle would be a medium bipedal communication. That doesn't strike me as I mean, you don't give it so many tentacles and have it left as a basic, so it's probably a paragon.
Yeah, all of these I was thinking of as awakened paragons at the very least.
Okay. I can definitely see the top right as a basic Titan.
It could be. Yeah, you could do that.
Of a heavy or as a heavy class. It might become a paragon, but it'll happen after this thing would have shed a few limbs and have them reattached.
So we have the question in chat, why would Shoal have bipedal mecha? There's a reason bipeds have evolved. We do have land, so we do have, terrain that mechs might want to walk on, where walking makes things a lot easier. Of course, quads would also be appropriate for that, but stomping along the seafloor, having that upright bearing so you can see what's ahead of you. Yes, you have sensors, but there are reasons why bipedal things exist. The ability to carry and move at the same time. The very easy understanding of something that's in forward motion, just despite what your shape might be. I feel like bipedals would still be very useful and something that would inevitably end up being generated. But of course, they're not going to be our own ones. And none of our races are bipedal. They don't have to be. And like I said, we can add limbs, we can take limbs away. And I started with bipedal because I was thinking visually. I was thinking of connecting with our audience. I was thinking of all sorts of different things. And this is just 6 of an intended 15 I'm working on. I haven't drawn the rest yet. I'm not saying all mechs on Shoal are going to be bipedal. I just think some bipedal options make sense.
Yeah, no, I would have to stand by Ed on that. We also have to realize that if we are trying to go full alien, we are also alienating the people looking at it.
Yeah, and there's practical concerns as well. If you're putting somebody into a mech where you're now controlling these huge machines with the power of sci fantasy and wishful thinking and etc., the more limbs you give it, the more you're asking a new pilot to try and control. So I think there's also a good excuse to be made for, let's reduce the number of limbs but make them versatile for our younger pilots. So it might be that bipedals are your training mechs.
I think that's just being simple. The simplification of mechanical building. These things are hugely complex as they are.
Yes.
And giving it 2 limbs is just enough.
Wait.
And we will have other stuff.
So the dogs have just returned from the park. Ceres, Pip, come here. Anka is currently desperately trying to stand on the keyboard because she's seen that there are snackies. Pip. Wait,
Night Owl
Ceres.
demands a patting.
There can be
Petting
petting.
has been
Ceres,
redeemed.
Pip. Pip. Ceres. Here you go, baby. Right, there we go. Treats have been administered. Pettings have been administered. And yes, we make bipedal mechs because we're bipedal, but there are reasons why Shoal, I think, would also have bipedals. And we're not talking about only bipedal.
I will say that in terms of dealing with underwater terrain, bipedal is more likely than tracks or wheels.
Yes.
And having enough limbs in enough directions is the way to go. So using quadpedal for mechs underwater doesn't make a lot of sense, because you need more limbs, but you don't need more legs. You need to be able to grab on things and move around, because unlike most of our understanding of mostly flat terrain, where you would develop things that need more space to stand on, when you're dealing with underwater area that's not even, and you don't have a lot of space to walk on.
Also, just the concept of height that can come with being bipedal. Sometimes you just want to stand tall, and that might just be purely for the concept of, I want this to be tall because it's a Royal Praetorian mech and I just want it to look impressive. That's its job, is look impressive.
Yeah, and the one Sentinel we have here doesn't have legs, but it does have 2 arms and impressive shoulder pads.
Yes.
Because we know shoulder pads is how you impress people.
Yeah, I'm hoping next week I'll be able to show you the full concept of all 15 that I'd like to sort of have on the table. But I wanted to draw some mechs this week. I needed to draw some mechs, so we have some.
Yep, I'm just saying, when you're trying to move in tight confines, especially at the bottom of the ocean, you need actually standing up makes more sense. There's a reason you use bikes instead of tanks when you're moving off-road.
Yeah.
But
It's a
that's
fictional
me
setting
digressing.
because it's cool is reason enough. That can be reason enough. And yeah, ultimately that
It
is
could
the
be
most
reason enough.
important thing when you're creating an art form that you want to put out into the world for other people, is that you, at the end of the day, wish to respect your audience. And sometimes that means going into nitty gritty. It means justifying everything you do. Sometimes it means giving them something they recognize, something that you don't have to dig into too deeply, because what you're trying to do is just bring the audience along for the ride with you. And this is not the important thing, so this just is. Here is the important thing that I want you to think about. And it's a balance. It's always a balance.
Yes.
Tired German says, I don't think Latical mechs would have mechanized land snake tails, too much wear and tear. I agree. But that would be where you get some of your other mech shapes, and we've got plenty of options we can work with. Plenty of options. The big thing we need to be doing this week, however, is thinking about the Titan for our Tide Warden, because that was where we were at last week. We have been working through our characters for our book. We've come up with our human character that we're going to have, our scientist, Jacob Salaval, who is a coral reef expert and helps to cause some of the difficulties that happen on the mission, and he is our portal to allow the audience to understand the weird and wonderful world that we've made. We have Umino Minasayo, who is our retired Titan pilot, Latical expert who now works for the bank. He's psionically burnt out from his years in service to the Tide Wardens. And he is the mentor character to both Jake and to the character we were working on last week, our Tide Warden, who doesn't have a name yet, so we need to do that this week. And then we'd also detailed Jabra Crackshell, our ceratinoid former pirate queen mercenary, whose job is to be gruff and practical and to the point until the moment where she shows the full breadth of her character during the peak of the story. So if I click over to our Tide Warden, we know that they are a young Galactical. They are here as an escort to the expedition. He's somewhat baby-faced. We know that his personality type came out as a consul. He likes being around other people. He forms close bonds with people. He has strong things that he believes in. He's very duty-bound, very much believes in the career path that he's taken. Definite views of right and wrong. He can be quite opinionated, but he's not an unpleasant person. He won't batter you to death with his opinions. Very much believes in established laws, protocols, social norms.
Doctor Who says the screen didn't change. We still see
The
the
screen
images.
didn't change. How dare it? Let me click the button. That's my fault. We'll blame OBS, but that was entirely my fault. It will now change.
Chat. No, we're blaming chat. as is our due. Chat, you're to blame. You should have known. Yes, let's go.
We finished off last week with looking at some of his fears, and that his biggest fear is that he's afraid that life outside of the training that he knows and world experiences that his training hasn't prepared him for. But basically, he's scared of having his worldview challenged. Not in terms of, I can't ever change, but he's very afraid that there's a lot more to life than his duty, and that his duty might be misplaced. He doesn't like the idea of being fallible, or that the work that he's dedicated himself to might in any way be inherently fallible. He's very young, so that's why he has such a sort of, not simple, but simplistic fear. He hasn't matured enough to have larger concerns following him at the minute, and he hasn't had any major traumas to impact him either. He's young. His entire adult life has consisted of military-like training and procedure. He's guilty of being young. He criticises others for dereliction of duty. He doesn't really see the grey that can come in there as yet. Likes to drink to cope with emotional pain. His important objects he carries is his parents' insignia pins from their time in service, so he's sort of following a family tradition. And his method of manipulation is appeal to authority, and that was kind of where we left off. And one of the things that we knew we were going to have to do is one of the most important things about this guy is that he's a Titan pilot. We need to detail his Titan and his Titan's history, etc. And we said that we'd do that this week. So we've got plenty of time. That's what we're going to be looking at doing. We've had a look at some options visually for the sorts of manifold shapes that Titans can take. So, yeah, I think that's what we'll do this week. We'll figure out his Titan, figure out his name, polish him up, and then maybe we'll talk about our Temple Guardian as well.
Sounds great.
Before I delve deeply into that, I'll give you guys just a few moments to have a think about it, because I need to use the restroom and decant these dogs off of my lap. The dogs say hi, chat.
Go ahead. So the Titan Warden mech should be a basic light medium. It's going to be a combat mech, German. And I think at the very least it's going to be, it doesn't have to be basic, but it could be. It could very well be our introduction. Light medium.
It's going to be a paragon of some kind. I would very much like our mechs to have their own personality. Be right back!
Bye. So, Pat, losing oneself in the gray. Emancipated degree. Yeah. So far, so good. The Tide Wardens, our main business is to give a certain level of peace to the various traders that go around Shoal. There's plenty of things that are going to be a problem, be they pirates, be they other either Titans, or be they Leviathans.
Okay, I return.
Hello. As I've explained, the Tide Wardens are mostly a security force. They are a multi-city force of Titan pilots and Titans that deal with keeping the trade routes that are very, very needed for the various...
Yeah, they're sort of an international sea police and protection force.
Yeah, they're the guys who make sure... You have many of them, and some of them have their own creed, some of them don't, but essentially their business to make sure that your caravan braves the wild seas and gets from point A to point B without too much of a problem, hopefully.
The way I look at it is that your younger Tide Wardens are often going to be stationed on set trade routes, doing general police work and protection and surveillance, etc. As your Tide Wardens get more experience, they maybe move into units either with their mech or without, depending, that respond to larger scale events, respond to Leviathan sightings to drive them away from important places, begin to work on things like this expedition and take that sort of thing. And then your advanced, more senior Tide Wardens are going to be the ones that respond to very large scale events and become a little bit more like a military arm for responding to those things that are on a sort of more international scale. So you're going to have sort of various different roles within the Tide Wardens. We know that our pilot is a younger Tide Warden, so this will probably be one of his first duty stations that doesn't involve just guarding a trade lane and doing basic bitch police work, so he could be quite excited about being here. Tide Gem said, when I saw Lady Red's mecha display, I had a very simple Tide Warden design, a trijet propulsed mech that has the following weapons: 2 harpoon batteries, cloaking dispenser, and sonic psionic shriek amplifier. Yeah, I mean, we could certainly give him things like that. What we decide to put on him in terms of his position in the story might be affected by when we plot the story out. We could decide, you know, well, we know we're going to have this event happen in the story, and the best way to solve it is this. So we make sure that one of our mechs has it or whatever. So we do have some flexibility to change that. But yes, I don't think this needs to be a very complex Tide Warden mech. It should be a pretty sort of standard one that has a variety of utility to it, so that it can be doing, guard work, it can be doing fine motor work, it can be responding to threats. It needs to be quite versatile in that regard, but not too overly complex in that versatility, if that makes sense.
Yep. I follow and I agree. I don't think he has a very it stands to reason the Titan, and it could be kind of interesting to explore just a little bit, just a few notes that this Titan has awakened with this specific pilot.
So it's
It has
a
awakened.
newer Titan?
It's a very new Titan,
Okay.
and it gives us a moment to actually explain that, yeah, the Titans are being imprinted, the Paragons, during their development, they are being imprinted by their pilots.
And that
It's not
could
a
be
one-way.
part of why our Tide Warden was sent with this expedition. This is a experience and maturing and learning opportunity, not just for the pilot, but also for the Titan. This is a good, expected to be relatively simple job posting.
Yep. You're supposed to be the guard detail.
If we're going down that route, though,
And gives us a reason to talk about this. Doctor Who is saying, like, it gives us a reason to explain to the reader that yes, these things get awakened, they live, that they're treated as people.
this is giving me some thoughts towards our overarching story, because if we go down this route, I think what would be most narratively satisfying is that for all this mech and its pilot get into a hell of a lot of trouble and have some, major issues, I don't think they should be the one, therefore, to die. It would be really good for this Titan to make it back with all of this experience that it will go on to use in the future. Perhaps we have our Temple Guardian die, and what's really important is that the young Titan brings the core from the old Titan, what remains, back to the library the expedition came from, and what's left of the memory from our Temple Guardian, it's not enough to fully just, give the mech a new chassis and it carries on as if nothing happened, but there is enough left to splice into a different Temple Warden to create a new Chimera Titan, and that allows us to look at that class system we've just put down. So the Titan gets to undergo a character arc transformation just the same as the pilot does, and then we get that sort of, the cost of the adventure, but the restorative positive note at the end of grafting the Temple Guardian's Temps Coral into a different mech back at the bank. How do we feel about that, chat?
Yes, chat. Tell us, how do we feel? We need to blame you.
Doctor Who says I can dig it. Because I'm just very conscious that this is going to be our introductory book for people into the setting. I want people to walk away from it with a positive vibe, a good feel. Things should still matter, because, otherwise it doesn't become satisfying. But I want people to walk away from our first book satisfied, so that they want to read more.
I agree.
Yeah, mechs are people. Yeah. Good story host.
Mechs are
Okay,
people.
let me make these notes then. Where is my notes? Book ideas. We'll stick it up here. All right. Titan character arc. Okay, let me put this so you guys can actually see what I'm writing and it's not hidden behind UI elements. Okay, our Tide Warden mech is young, just like the pilot, and is on this expedition as much for the mech to learn, experience, and develop as for its pilot.
Yep.
Due to this, We want to have this mech get into some serious trouble, but it should survive the story to take the lessons on into the future with its now much more matured and changed pilot, as that will be narratively satisfying. It is important that this mech pair are critical in salvaging the Temp's coral of the Temple Guardian mech, where the coral personality core will not be whole enough to just go into a new chassis, but can be grafted to bank guardians to create / enhance, I can spell, I swear, a new balance to create, enhance a chimeric titan and carry on the legacy of the fallen into the future. This lets us explore titan classes, titan places in society as their own people / individuals, and highlight the unique Shoaley facet where the past is much easier to carry into the future than for humans. Coral allows for more than just fading memory. Memory can become part of the future. Which is not to say, of course, that human experiences of consequence and memory and etc. are unimportant, but I think the way Shoaley experience it is one of the unique things we've built into our setting and is worth highlighting. So there we go, got some notes. Let's see what chat's saying. All for it, so far so good, excellent. Yes, the Temple mech that will die. We're not currently working on the Temple mech. We've been talking about the Tide Warden. We do need to talk about the Temple Guardian today as well, I think, and the character that will be attached to that. But I want to finish the Tide Warden first. Yeah, mechs are artificial Shoaley personae, or asps. Yes, they are the pinnacle of asps. They are these huge machines that can do incredible things. They're not just a little personal assistant you take around with you. They are effectively the most powerful things on Shoal.
The fun thing to think about them, again, tangent warning, tangent incoming, is that they need the Shoaley, the pilots, not just because they're pretty and feel nice inside their cores, but because they need their sense of time and the ability to anchor themselves to the here and now, and the ability to say, okay, I need to react on a time scale that's not tectonic.
Yes. I think we've got some interesting things to consider when we get to our Temple Guardian, but let's work on wrapping up our Tide Warden. So,
a very nice Bobby G, the G.I. Joe.
We need to give our Tide Warden a name. We know it's a laticle, and our last laticle had a kind of, Asian kind of name. We went for Umino Minaseo. So we might want to stay in that sort of 2-word naming convention, which admittedly, we've done that for all of our characters so far, and that's very human. So let's stick with, a first name and a surname. We don't need to go too alien with that at the moment. We need to come up with a name for our young laticle Tide Warden. And I am all for taking suggestions from chat.
Up is not a good name, I think.
He is also a Chad of a laticle, remember. He is a big, bulky eel boy who likes going to the gym.
Yes.
But he's got a bit of a baby face. He smells of fresh kelp, herby coral unguents, and a soft undertone of sweet vanilla. He's got a strong march of confident solo reed notes in a tight scale with periods of silence as his resonance.
I know, Doctor Who. I was being stupid. Okay. Like, the last 3 minutes, what are we doing? We are doing our babyface Titan pilot. Absolutely nice guy, the friend of the team. Horini. Yes.
The only issue I see with that is I know what people will do when they read it. They are going to shorten it to horny, and we don't want to go there.
Nope. We don't have enough prawn. The prawn industry is already busy.
Yes, we have
Thank you.
refused to cover the prawn industry at the current time.
Yes. Artuka.
Hordaka. Hordaka's a pretty good name. It's got some nice strong sounds to it. Having that ka sound at the end, it fits in with the personality type.
Yeah, that it does. Oh, Hordaka.
Tired German suggested Rukin Yushi. We could take Yushi as the surname. Hordaka Yushi. That fits in the same kind of naming convention as our other laticle.
Yep, that it does.
Okay.
That sounds good.
We don't have any specific naming conventions, Erica, and I'm a bit loath to go, yes, this entire species always names within this convention, because I don't like all elves are like this, all dwarves are like this, when you've got an entire planet and, the elves of this town versus the elves of that town might be very different. They might not have had a common, ancestral cultural connection for thousands of years and have come up with a different system as a result. So I don't have any specific naming conventions we have to stick to. The only reason I'm wanting to keep things similar is because I don't want to confuse people within the bounds of the book. And we have kind of felt that our two laticles have a similar civilization, that culture that they've come from. So no, we don't have any specific naming conventions is the answer to that question. I just went into a bit more detail than was probably necessary.
Okay.
Yeah, linguistic drift is a pain in the ass on many scales.
I'm not even going to start reacting on that. I will. The tangents, they will never cease. They will never stop.
We will be here forever. That's what you should do if you've got time on Halloween and you're not doing other things. Is just Lictor's tangents while I'm not here.
Lictor's tangents, yes, all the tangents. Oh my god, I will. We will decide how many letters are there in the Proto-Sulayan scriptures. Yes, this is what we need. This is the sort of information our crowd needs. God damn it.
All right, I'm going with Hordaka Yushi because I think that works well. I think we arrived at that name
works
pretty
for
well.
Daka.
All right, so let's start talking now about his Titan, because that's what's... Oh no, we do have a few things to finish on him first. Let's do those, then we'll go to the Titan. All right, so we had a big chat about him. We know what he's like. What is the best thing in the character's life? I feel like for him, he's very duty-driven. He's a legacy duty holder. His family have always been Tide Wardens. He is piloting a newly awakened Titan. We know his Titan, and anything to do with Titans excites him. I think the best thing in this character's life is that he gets to be Pilot 1 for this Titan. He gets to be the first. I think that is the thing that he just thinks is the best thing ever.
Absolutely. 200%.
Night Owl has just sent me a meme. Remember, no horny instead of no Russian. Thank you, Night Owl. We will steer away from the prawn industry. All right, best thing in this character's life being Pilot 01/Alpha for his Titan. He is very proud to be the first pilot for his companion.
I think he's kind of worried about that. Like, am I going to be a good parent?
The responsibility probably does well, and that's going to fit into his duty, but it's also, of course, why he makes for a good first pilot. Is, they're both young, but he's very duty driven. He can recite the Tide Warden's code frontways, backwards, upside down. That's why he's been trusted with it, but of course that is a big responsibility.
Yeah.
All right, how is he dissatisfied with his life? I think he probably wishes he got to do cooler things. But he's just not old enough yet.
I got to be pilot 0, but all I get to do is be guard duty for this bunch of bookworms who haven't done anything serious their entire lives.
Yeah.
That's, of course, he has no idea who is he piloting with, because if he sat down with Jabra, he would probably revise his opinion. But this is where the fun part is. He's like, you guys are a bunch of civilians who don't understand nothing. And then Jabra, punches him in the face. Shut up, you silly.
So I've written, while he gets to be Pilot 1, he wishes he could do more than just be a guard for a bunch of boring nerds. He wants to do cool things with his Titan and be the pilot it will always remember best. And I think that last bit will play into his thing quite a lot, is that, I get to be Pilot 1, but I know my Titan will outlive me and go on to have all of these other pilots, but I want it to always remember me. I want it to have the coolest time while it's
I want the legacy.
Yeah.
It's a chance at eternity.
He wants
It
legacy,
really is.
but is afraid he won't be given a chance to build a meaningful one due to the youth of his Titan. We're making him more compelling every time we talk about him. I like this character. I like all of our characters. They're all great. Okay, what does the character believe will bring them true happiness?
Interesting characters.
True happiness or contentment? Going on a huge adventure and fighting something.
Fighting evil.
Yeah, something big and
Yes.
evil and meaningful and
He
being
wants to have
remembered for
the
all
true
time.
adventure. Yeah, he wants the legacy. Do you want to live forever, apes? Answer is yes. Problem is, you won't.
What definitive step could they take to turn their dream into a reality? I think the big thing for him here is that what's holding him back isn't himself in terms of achieving his dreams. It's an external constraint on him, but of course his internal turmoil is realizing that everything he does is important. So what definitive step could they take to turn their dream into reality? They can't. He is duty bound with his Titan and can't just ride off into the sunset.
Nope.
But
No
his
riding off to the sunset for you.
character development is in realizing that he can still have a huge legacy within his internal world without needing to overcome the external constraints.
Will he have that terrible moment watching it all the ruins in their dig site and understanding that the sinking feelings that these people has achieved more than anyone he has ever known, and all their legacies dust? It's like, oh no.
Yeah, I think he will have that. But I think the most meaningful moment I'm anticipating for this character at the current time is there's going to come a moment where he gets exactly what he wants. There is a huge threat. It does need dealing with. He is in a position to be able to, try and prevent this world-ending thing. And if he does and makes it back alive to talk about it, he's always going to be remembered. But in getting exactly what he wants, he's also going to realize the exact reason why, he's been sent on this quiet mission, but what it was supposed to be is, yeah, he's in the position to do this. Yeah, he's got a Titan and he can use it to do something, that will be a legacy and a cool thing. But at the same time, his Titan's a baby, and he now has to take his Titan into this war and try and get his Titan out alive. And that if his Titan
Yeah.
dies this young, this newly brought into the world, the weight of that, I think that's going to be his moment of personal growth, where he realizes legacy is more than just having the adventure. It's the cost of what's left when you achieve victory and what you've lost along the way. And sometimes what you lose that's the most important isn't innocence, is the way you were before you experienced this terrible thing, even if you come out of it successful. I think that's going to be like his big punch in the feels moment.
Okay. I'm just imagining him that Ozymandias moment of he watch see my works in despair, and is like looking left and right, and just like the Ozymandias, like there's nothing here.
Yeah.
There's nothing here. Where is everything?
Yeah, he definitely needs to have that moment as well. Ed says this should all be, all the stuff I was saying should be after the other Titan gets smoked. Absolutely, because of course that's what brings it, that's what makes it real. It's no longer just, you know, a dream on the page, a comic book story, a hope for legacy. It's no, you're actually... Are we back? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Fabulous. So you know how last week we didn't have a single disconnection?
Yes.
And the week before that, it was terrible. So the week before that, that was the last time I've had a disconnection. And then we were fine last week, and then this week, it's like, no, we're going to do this again. God damn it!
We will make an attempt at the Borkian nation to repeat, so it would seem.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when we get a nice long weekend where Squick is available, there is going to be some Squickination happening in this house to try and solve these problems. My apologies, chat.
Hello, chat. Praise the God machine. Praise the Squeak machine.
Alright. My computer is attempting to remember that Twitch is a thing and actually connect to chat. There we go. Yep, candles, incense, purity seals, chainsaw to threaten the servers with, whatever it takes. Alright, we are back. We are back. Alright, we were talking about Titans and our dude and baby dolls people take home to look after, and no, this Titan isn't that much of a baby. Get the WD-40.
No,
I should get the WD-40. Alright.
I mean, baby, yes, not that level of baby though. Not quite there.
Alright, so our next thing we're supposed to fill in is how has fear kept them from taking the action to achieve their dreams already. I don't think that's applicable in this character's case. He's young,
really
the way
not
that
the
he's
problem.
built, it's not his issue, it's not part of his character arc, so we're going to ignore that. Yeah, we're just going to ignore those last two questions because I just don't think they are relevant, but I will put a note in here. We named him, let's use his name. Hordaka needs, through the course of the story, to look upon the lost city and really feel the weight.
Time for this.
Really feel the weight of their legacy just not being there. No one remembers them. No one really knows what happened. More poignant in Sholi culture than for humans, because of how they retain memory through physical media that can carry it forward. No one really knows what happened. They faded away, which is one of his great fears. He should also go through the true realization of the cost of adventure and cool shit TM when he sees the Temple Guardian die and realizes he can have the history changing adventure, but that it is his responsibility to get his young Titan through it, and even in victory, the innocence lost and childhood both he and the mech had before this event will be irrevocably gone. With great power comes great responsibility. Only, you know.
With great Titan comes great weight that might drag you down and make you fall.
Alright, so we've made those notes. He's fearless, not... Well, bravery is just such a complicated thing, because when you're young, you know, you think that being brave is dashing into danger and not caring and doing the right thing and coming through successfully. And then as you get older, you realise that bravery is being shit scared, but doing the right thing and acting anyway. If it's not scaring you, it doesn't really take bravery to face it. If it does scare you and you face it anyway, that's being brave. And that takes a level of maturity to be there. Peter Podlin. No! Get out, Zork! So yeah, his problem
you
isn't
can
fear,
stay,
it's
Zork, but we will mutilate you in the end.
Yeah, he's going to start
So, you know.
brash and confident and keen and eager and, you know, with that bright-eyed, rosy-cheeked attitude to adventure, and then by the end of it, he's learnt the weight of it. He's learnt to be brave because he's had to act in spite of fear. So yeah, that gives him a really good, strong character arc. I was honestly expecting that the Temple Guardian would be our more important character, but no, I think this guy is. I'm really pleased with where we've gotten to with him. He makes
Temple
sense.
Guardian boils in my brain to someone is what you expect him to be. Which is not to say he's not interesting or important, but he is what you expect him to be, as opposed to being the character that needs to go through an entire arc to get where you need it to.
Yeah, and I think we could have gone either way. We could have ended up with the Tide Warden being, you know, what you expect him to be, and he'd have ended up being older and etc. And we'd have put a lot of these facets we've put here onto our Temple Guardian instead, but I prefer it being the Tide Warden. I think we made some good choices. Right, we've now finished what we need to finish of him. I'm not worried about pre-established relationships and conflicts right now. We're not talking about subplots this week. What we do need to do, though, is talk about his Titan.
Yes.
We need its taxonomy.
So we already have the...
We need its name. We need a bit of its history. Oh no, that's the wrong screen. I'm scrolling on. There we go. What else?
Can we have that Titan be like be your Joe Titan? Be that. It doesn't have to be a specifically made. I don't want. I want it to be the basic Titan, the thing you're happy to get because it's good, but not. You know, it doesn't have the special drive. It doesn't have your mom's genes in it.
Yeah, it should be a standard model.
Yeah, it's a standard model. It's good. It's your F-16, and it's good enough. doesn't have to be that one of a kind super machine anime style.
Zork says Trauma Bomb the Freshie. Yay! You would say that, Zork.
Yes.
All right, let's
medium
think
walker.
about what we think he should be. So I do think a medium mech makes sense. Let's work down our list that we had. So what propulsion type is he going to have?
He's a latical, right?
Yeah, I think this needs to be a walker of some kind.
Yeah, it's a walker plus jets.
Or a swimmer, supported by jets. Okay, so do we want him to be a swimmer with a tail, or do we want him to be a walker with feet? I feel like a walker with feet might be a good idea. You know, feet and hands for gripping and climbing, because they're not sure what they're going to be dealing with. Swimmers can obviously swim over everything, but if they're going into a city and maybe going inside rooms, maybe they're a bit more concerned about that and want something that's got legs rather than a tail. How do we feel, chat?
I think no tail.
No tail.
Just jets.
I think making him it might be a good idea, because considering what we're planning on doing with this character, why don't we make this one of our bipedal mechs? Because that's easy language for our audience to understand, and that lets them focus a lot more on the personalities and the character arc that we're presenting with this character and his titan, rather than on how strangely they move, and we make the Temple Guardian a little bit more exotic.
Yes.
I think that might be the way to go. Okay, so he is a bipedal walker mech with jet support for endurance distance travel. So he has jets for when he's just cruising, but when he's actually, you know, doing mech stuff and walking around, the jets are just there for the long distance stuff. We can pop them underneath some cowling, either on the shoulders or the hips or something like that. Okay, so we know what his propulsion is. His usage is he is a standard model,
It's a combat.
medium
It's a combat
mech. Tide, Warden, Patrol, standard pattern. I'm going to call him Tide, Warden, Patrol, standard pattern Alpha, because I imagine that you'll have, like, you know, a latical type one, a ceratinoid one, etc., and that they have, you know, maybe those designations Alpha, Beta, etc., and we're just going to go with whatever we decide this one looks like. This is the Alpha pattern, but it's not the only pattern. There are multiple standard patterns.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's his usage. Weight class, we've already said he's a medium. And his resonance is, he is an awakened paragon, but newly awakened and juvenile. I'll use the word juvenile. He's young. Okay, so we know his taxonomy. We will need to give him a name. We can come back to that in a minute. What does he look like? Let's do that first.
For something that's combat, it has respectable armor, it has respectable plating, it has a single efficient it has on one arm, he has an armature that carries a multi-purpose shard launcher, shred launcher, or shard launcher.
All right.
Essentially something that accelerates.
Keep that in mind. Let's wind it back and go to a bit more standardized for how we build up to this. A bit more simple for how we build up to this. We know he's going to be an upright bipedal mech. Is he shark-like? Is he crab-like? Is he whale-like? Is he eel-like? Is he seahorse-like? What general shape language does he have? Let's start there.
I think this one comes from the Forge cities, so it is streamlined shell, ceratinoid design, the stuff you can make in bulk, so to speak.
Okay, so he is an upright bipedal streamlined ceratinoid form. Okay, we had one of those that we were looking at earlier. I mean, streamline might not be the word for
Yeah,
it,
but this one has hands that the latical.
that was going to be
can
my
use.
next question. How many arms does he have? We know he's got 2 legs. How many arms does he have?
4.
He has 4 arms, and I feel like 2 of them
Two
should
are
be
weapon-
smaller and more dexterous, and 2 of them should be
Exactly.
larger and house weapon system.
Precisely. Two combat armatures and 2 utility armatures. Armatures?
Yeah, we can use that word. That's completely fine. He has 4 arms, 2 smaller and for dexterous work, 2 larger for supporting combat armatures. Okay. Is he going to have like a single cockpit outlook? Does he purely take visual from his instruments and being plugged into the mech? How does he receive awareness of the world around him? Is it an enclosed cockpit with no external viewport, or does he have a viewport?
I
As
think he
he's-
has.
The way I'm feeling is because this
Go on.
isn't our main character. He's a strong supporting character, but thinking about this from the visual side, I don't feel like he needs to have an external cockpit that looks out into the world, because we don't need to see the pilot to empathize with him for the story that we're telling, even if we made it a visual story. That's something we need for John Human and probably for Umi more than anybody else. So I don't feel like he
Okay.
needs the ability to see outside. I feel like his feedback
I
comes
think
from
that a full
senses.
enclosed chassis is
Yeah.
more logical for a fully combat oriented machine.
Okay, I can see people saying things about gesticulating, tentacle. Do we want him to have some mechadendrites? The extendable mechadendrites for holding certain things?
As not as extra armatures.
Yeah.
It's like either, and having opposable thumbs when you don't have many mechadendrites is not good. Mechadendrites are only good if they have fingers at the end of them.
That's true.
Otherwise, you need a lot of them in order to do fine manipulation.
So this would be the sort of thing that has, like a little gripper at the end. So these would be purely for holding extra things, and not there all the time. Is use case scenario. We'll give him some mechadendrites, but they're not a standard thing that he's always has out or is always using.
Okay, the chest plate has 4 holes in it that can extend mechadendrites
Yeah.
to help manipulate stuff. That can
Deployable
work.
mechadendrites are holding things that can extend from the chest chassis. Okay, the cockpit is entirely enclosed and reinforced. Sensory input comes purely from connection to the Titan's sensory suite. Okay, armaments. What things do we want him to have? We know he's got 2 big arms for holding some big armaments if we want to.
So he's got the ye-old combat claw on one,
He has
which doubles as a shield and
combat
an attack
claw,
apparatus.
which can be a shield on one of his large arms. Okay.
And he has the shred launcher or shredder or what have you guys come up with a nice the equivalent of an AC-15. The stuff you can use in multiple ranges, has a good enough ammunition and doesn't require too much in the way of skill to do damage. Like it's the heavy laser or maybe medium ER laser. The thing you can use for pretty much anything.
Okay. His other arm has a shred launcher built onto it with ammunition stored inside the arm's anchored bulk. Because if it's a big arm, we might as well use that space for it. It doesn't need to be dexterous. Claustrophobic in case of power failure? Yes, it would be, but I imagine that's something that is, part of training and etc. etc.
How
Being
do you
able to see
feel
out
the
when you're
power
stuck
of
inside
a
anyway doesn't change anything.
psionically active? I mean, claustrophobic, yes, but then again, if somebody managed to shut down your neural network,
Zork wants us to give him a 4-shot torpedo rack, which I think is a good idea, and a plasma spear. I would be down for that as well. I won't necessarily call it a plasma spear, but like a heated weapon, a superheated weapon. Absolutely.
superheated weapon as a bomb. I mean, it could be plasma torpedoes, but you're not going to heat the entire area between you and the enemy. That's just not going to work.
One shoulder.
The water is a wonderful heat absorbent. If you're going to try to make a heat ray underwater, I'm afraid the amount of energy you're going to need is going to dwarf the sun.
We can dig a little bit more into exactly how we want to develop some of the weaponry later.
Psionic disruption machine weapons.
What about if he carries a oscillating shriek spear?
Question to Zork, our expert on war crime and construction thereof. What did we say about psionic disruption as a mode of weapon, as a mode of weaponry?
We
know
do
we've
know
talked
that that's
about
a
it.
thing. I don't think that our Tide Warden would have it. I think that's something that's a bit too specialised for what it is that we've got down here, but we did have a discussion about that, and we might need to circle back to weaponry next week and really dig into it. And again, we're giving our guys some basic weaponry now based on our thoughts right now. We can always adjust it as we start detailing the story and giving things that make more sense. So we're not like hard locked into whatever we decide now, that's it forever. We can change the names, we can change how things work.
A torpedo launcher, a good robust cannon type thing, and an armored claw, an armed and armored claw make it. We're essentially making a centurion here. We're making a good, robust, well armored, yet not incredibly exciting Titan that is capable of taking a hit and delivering it where it needs to go.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll stick with where we're at for now, and we will tinker with that, because especially if I get to do just show work this week, like I've been talking about, we might have things, where we can talk about weapons in a bit more detail next week with everybody, with the document in front of them in a useful way. I'm pretty happy with the general ideas we've got, and I can start to see what this guy looks like, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, history. So we've said that this mech was built in one of the Ceratinoid Forge cities. He is a standard Tide Warden pattern alpha build. He has no real
Thank you, Zork.
unique characteristics or mannerisms as yet, as he is a very newly minted Titan. Where was he awakened? Was he awakened in the Ceratinoid city? Was his chassis, his shell exported elsewhere for that to happen? What
Define awakened. When it became.
So awakened. So the Ceratinoids
constru-
built him, and then at some point somebody integrated all of his coral systems and brought them all online for the first time, including his Temps core, so that he woke up and awakened as a paragon. His first initiation of his personality
Okay,
core.
so it was a basic Titan, which is this is something we need to talk about. What percentage of Titans are paragons?
So a fair portion, and they're not rare on Shoal. They're not common, but they're not rare. When you're looking at, I mean, this is the kind of thing where this is a Tide Warden mech. He's designed to be a paragon. He is designed to be awakened. It's not something that happens by accident. When you build something like this, you know you're going to be giving it the cause to be able to do that, because the whole point is to learn from environments, learn from your pilots, and be something that over time it has the weight of generations behind it. This isn't like your standard combine harvester that's just there to harvest the kelp fields and doesn't need a personality. This is something that was designed to have one.
As it was designed to have the capacity. As it is a nascent intelligence, not a production procedure. Let's call it this way. I would dare say it happened somewhere late in training with the unit, as they have general idea of when such things happen and how, but it's not an exact science because it is an organic growth. And while humanity have raised innumerable cattle over its years, every cow is still different.
Okay, I have some thoughts. Okay,
Go ahead.
Based on what you've just said, okay, this mech was built in one of these Thratinoid Forge cities. Let's pick one. Let's have him built at... that's a Forge city.
I would like Chad to note that Red is having thoughts.
I am.
Which is commonly known as a very dangerous portion of the discussion. Just want everybody to be cognizant of the fact. That's all. Carry on.
Okay, the mech was built in the Thratinoid Forge city of Traskiln. He is a standard Tide Warden pattern alpha build. He has no real unique characteristics or mannerisms as yet, as he's a newly minted Titan. He had his coral, matrices, and temps cortex installed in Merinport before being shipped to his destination unit of the Tide Wardens, where he entered service, as is standard, in the training grounds until his systems retained enough inputs to begin the awakening process. He awakened, considering how long years are, he awakened 4, and how we did our stuff, he awakened 4 months into his second training cycle, as expected, while under the stewardship of, what did we name our character? Hordaka Yushi. At this time, he received his name designation and became a true paragon. He completed, and we'll decide his name in a minute, he completed his... let's move down so you guys can see. He completed his training regime without any notable issues, and has served several years as a patrol guard, as is standard, before beginning to expand his experience banks with expeditionary secondments, such as the expedition in the story. There we go. So he's had a very unique, nothing unique has happened to him yet. It's all going to happen in our story. Let's see what chat has to say. During training, he started realizing the mech was waking up. Yep. Lady's thinking, and even I'm scared. Yeah, when I'm left to my own devices, it can be a problem. Would the Titan have a gender yet? No, not necessarily. We don't necessarily have to have one even afterwards. I've been using he because it just allows me to write easier. We can choose its pronouns and whatever we want to do at this point. Do we have other mecha names? The only mecha that we have so far that's a sort of definitive built one is Benny. And Benny's name is technically Furin. He is the first of the Furin line of mechs. The first one always bears the name of the mech line. This guy is not the first mech in his line, so he can have any name that we want to give him. Benny's only called Benny because that's the name of the hermit crab that's piloting the damn thing. So, you know, we have complete freedom here. But you did write a short little snip at one point where you had
I did.
You did.
Yes,
And what was
Q.
the naming convention you used there?
1 moment.
Because I know
Let me-
Benthic was part of it, and there was
Yes,
a number
the
attached.
benthic. Yes, that was the number of generations of Tam Squirrel that has been integrated into the chassis.
Mm-hmm. And is that tied to how many pilots it's had as well, or just purely
No,
to Temps
as
crafts?
many. No. Temps cores.
So this for our mech then will definitely be 1. In his naming
One,
convention,
yeah.
he will be 1.
Yeah, the 1 moment. This I do need to pick it up because I thought it was rather cool. So let me home in on that. Okay. There we go. Benthic, Kubentha.
Phone is disconnected.
Hello.
Hi.
You're back.
Yes.
Hello.
We're having one of those weeks this week.
Yes, we do.
For literally no good reason.
We will find a reason. Then we will punch it in the face
I
multiple
do not
times.
know why it does this. It's so annoying.
Reason?
So,
punching
Night Owl,
will,
the internet hose, it never disconnects for Aiden. It does for me and my phone, though. And I do not know why, because last week this didn't happen. I have literally no clue why this occurs, what causes it to happen specifically on Fridays when I want to talk to you guys. The only difference is that Aiden has a direct hardwire. I have a remote hardwire, and we are planning on changing that when we can get Squick over here to do some Squicknology. But, you know, that requires time and drilling holes into things, and I don't understand why. It doesn't make sense, and it is infuriating.
Please observe. Kind and gentle chat folk. This is how companies discorporate. Due to the fury of Lady Red and disconnected. This is how technology ends. This is how the Omnisia wails in fear.
There is a microwave in the kitchen, Doctor Who, that is studiously not used during stream times. It's definitely not that. Yeah, we're planning on drilling some holes in the ceiling and running cable through the attic, and it's going to be a fun time. It is going to be a fun time. Right, we were going to try to name
So,
our Titan. Where were we at?
So the name was Reach, and it had an adjective and a name. So the name of the Titan was Reach. It had a descriptor for every generation of temp squirrel attached to it.
Okay.
So it was 90X Reach, benthic Reach. When the story began, it became 10OX Reach Extended, or Exalted Reach, when the story ends, because it changed its location.
Yeah.
10O Reach Reborn. I'm sorry, 10O Reach Reborn.
Okay, so we know
When
for
it
this
became-
guy he's going to be 1.
Okay, so it can be 10. Actually, it could be 00 Alpha. Let's give it the 00. Let's give it a cool name, a cool name, a cool letter. 00 Zeta Rho. What would be a cool
Doctor
name?
Who is suggesting 00A, so 00 Alpha, Phalonic Born, Nick for short.
Okay. Let's see. Phalonic Born. Nick for short. Phalonic. That, by the way, it doesn't have to even have a surname because it doesn't have any deeds attached to it yet.
Yeah.
So, it's just Phalonic. 00A Phalonic.
00A, Phalonic, Nick for short. I know what I know what we are going to name Umi's mech that he used to ride around in. Where
Okay, I'm listening. I'm curious.
Let me put up here.
The curiosity is in me now.
His old Titan before it perished was 07 Bravo Dictic.
Victic?
Dictic, as in dictation,
Oh.
because he was a
Victic.
communication mech.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I read you.
Okay, back to this. Okay, 00 Phalonic, Nick for short. And again, it's putting those names into a similar convention because our two laticals are very similar. We're playing along with that. Okay, let's see. It's always there in the nick of time. Get out, Vareth Ragnar! I know where to find you. They'll be shouting later.
As well there should be.
Alright. So we know its taxonomy, we know its name, we know its description, we know its history. It doesn't need to have anything else because the whole point is everything it experienced during this story. That means we have now finished everything we need to do for Hordaka Yushi. Our last character that we need to do, and I don't think we need to go into quite so much of a detail as we have here, is we need to have just a little bit of a think about our Temple Guardian. So let me add him in.
He is going to be templing the guardianship.
Okay.
Custodes Templum.
We will grab our normal template that we normally use, but we won't go in as much detail because we just don't need to, and we'll go from there. Because this dude's job is to round out what our other characters haven't already covered. So he will need a name and a nickname, or she. We'll come back to that in a minute. So roll in the story. The Temple Guardian, Pilot, and Mech are our experienced...
Yes, Corbin. We see you.
Oh dear, has trouble arrived? Not
Yes,
for you, Corbin. Not for you. Temple Guardian, Pilot, and Mech are our experienced mech pair. They are here to be the repository of known knowledge accompanying the expedition. They have a loaned archive on board of common silence knowledge. They are, oh no, not caps lock. They are an experienced temple guardian. The mech is able to both connect with coral libraries as well as do research and sampling tasks, hence its presence on this mission. It is here to cross-reference, sample, analyze, and most importantly, remember and carry the record back, as well as secure any temps, coral, or fragments found during the expedition to add to its home library. In the course of the story, this is the mech pilot that will get into huge trouble when the problem emerges. This ends in the death of the pilot and critical crippling of the mech, but part of its temps core is salvaged to return home and become a chimeric Titan splice. Keeping in mind everything we've said so far. Okay, so let's talk about the pilot for this first. So far we have we've got 3 male characters and 1 female in our major line.
That's a female cephalonid.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not saying we have to balance it. If we want another dude, we can. That's perfectly viable. I'm just bringing it up if you guys want to round the roster out, see what you guys feel like. Female squid. Silence expert. Yeah, I think we need to have if you're sending along a library-specific mech and we've made the decisions that we have for the Tide Warden, I think this mech coming along and having access to a repository taken from the library to cross-reference, it makes sense for this mech to be doing that. Yeah, so we'll end up with a human, 2 laticals, a ceratinoid, and a squid, which is a good snapshot into Shoal. Yeah, and this is just our major characters. There will be others. But these are the ones that we're likely to spend a little bit more time and detail with. Okay, so we're going to have them be a female cephalonid. A female...
We already have one. But I will feel bad to kill, but we have one of these.
We do have a female cephalonid, but we wrote her just as an example of character creation. She's not directly attached to this story yet, and I don't think her personality will fit what we need for this. Let me bring her up. Yeah, Lucienne Page. Yeah, trained librarian, trained survivalist, Titan prototype specialist, amateur spelunker, coral technician. I feel like she's a little bit too adventurous and main character-y to be in a slightly more supportive role like this, and we hadn't originally thought of her as a Titan pilot as like her thing, although she can do Titan nonsense. Yeah, I don't think she's going to fit for what we want to do here.
Yep.
We need to build somebody that's specific for this story. Okay, she's going to be a female cephalonid. I feel like she's going to be maybe middle-aged, so that she still takes some mentorship from Umi, but she doesn't actually need him. Or we could have her be older and she doesn't need his mentorship at all. They're both sort of equal level on this expedition. What's chat
I
feeling?
d- yeah, chat.
Purely for
Yes,
shits and
chat.
giggle, gender fluid aquatic character. So one of the things I've talked about on stream before with regards to that sort of thing is some things don't need gender. Some things can choose, to do different things with gender. But unless we're going to do something specific with looking at that sort of thing, unless we're going to make that a focal point or a subplot, or we have some kind of theme or message we're wanting to deliver, I don't want to delve too much into unusual pronouns and that sort of thing unless it has a meaning behind it. Otherwise, it feels cheap and tick boxy, and it can be distracting from what we're here for. The kind of story that we're telling, I think having gender fluid pronouns won't be to our benefit because we're not intending to do anything with it. It's the sort of thing where if it was something we wanted to explore, maybe we explore it through the Titans, because the Titans don't necessarily look at themselves as gendered. That could be something we play with, because there's something there to be said, because we're exploring Titans as, people. They're not just machines. But I wouldn't want to do it for a character, just because I don't think we'll use it in a way that would come across as genuine and meaningful and respectful. More experienced than Hodaka. Yep, she definitely needs to be more experienced. She needs to be very competent and familiar with what she's doing. She in herself doesn't necessarily need to be an expert on the silence, though we can make her that. But what she should be is an expert on using the repository and analysis that her Titan is carrying. To be able to lift that information from the coral matrix she's carrying with her, which is, a data copy from the library. Doctor Who is feeling older than Umi.
A cephalonid?
Cephalonid being older than a latical could be possible, and it would put her into the older end of cephalids, but, maybe that's why she's here. She's a scholar. Corbin,
Out
I don't
here?
think you were here for when we were plotting out what this book is going to involve, but the bad stuff that's happening in this book is directly tied into explosive ocean Valstrax. The more experienced she is, the more her death matters. How old does Seth's get? We haven't decided.
I don't think so. I think the more the more interesting and relatable she is, the more.
Well, yes.
The more her death.
Yes, but if we're pulling in the whole, she has the knowledge about this, she has the ability to access what we need to know to deal with this. She's very experienced, she's very valuable, both to the, in the terms of the story, to the party that we're working with, but also to the library that sent her. And if she dies, all of that is lost, and lost with her. You can make it impactful. But yeah, you are quite right. Age doesn't have to come into meaning.
Yeah, I don't think that's an age thing.
It's a character thing.
I think it's more. I think that she is a temple guard of a specific temple, which has data. Yeah. It's not so much that she specifically has collated everything, but she's a temple guard. That temple is important. Maybe she's from Suleya. Okay. She came from one of the major repositories, and she's bringing with her a major investment. Okay. She's important because she represents something in a person. She's coming with something that is vast. It's not so much that she's old, but she brings with her a piece of knowledge that is ancient.
Make her 68, so she's a decade younger than Umi, but it's older for a cephalonid, so maybe her schooling
it is old for a cephalonid.
She's going to be a female cephalonid. She is missing one of her tentacles, and she moves somewhat slowly and sedately. Her limbs have a slow, fluid gait, the equivalent of achy joints in older humans. She is paler in colour than in her youth, with blotches on her back and tentacles where her aging chromatophores no longer constrict and expand as they would in youth. She has a purplish tone to her body, but despite her age, and changing colour form, she still has youthful green eyes that are bright with curiosity, though she does wear spectacles when not in her title.
Corbin, have fun.
Oh god, what's he up to? No, you can't have one. No, you're not using it later.
I mean...
No, you can't stamp
Why
on
not?
the roses. Whatever you're up to, just stop it. Whatever it is, the answer's no, Corbin.
Yes, he'll probably take someone's eye out.
Oh god. Yes,
If
mine,
I'm allowed to
most
channel
likely.
my inner Yiddish mama.
Okay, so we've got an idea of what she looks like. I'm not going to go too deep into her scent or any of those things at the moment. If they become important, that's something we want to bring in, we will. I just want to do some general writing about her instead of going through the detailed. So she is a very accomplished librarian, an expert delver of coral repositories, and very well known back in her home port in Solea for her ability to navigate the depths of the Grand Library to find specific information in the archives. She has been a, inverted commas, bookworm for most of her life, with life experience outside the library, mostly coming in the form of expeditions like this one, but she is extremely well read and knowledgeable on many, many subjects, and one of the key features of her Titan is its ability to effectively expand her active memory, recall, and research prowess when she is connected to it for excellent data processing, retention, and recollection. Even outside of her mech, she is a sharp and intelligent individual, but this can make her come across as standoffish and sharp, especially as she seems to think much faster than the people around her. Let's put this up so you guys can see. She is all about the data, the history, the meaning, but lives less in the present moment and emotion, which can be her downfall. She has few truly close relationships as a result, but she carries an enormous academic respect in relevant circles. She is on the expedition as its knowledge base, a recorder, and to retrieve artifacts for the library, especially coral, if possible. Right, let's see what chat's having to say while I was wittering on over there.
You mean when you were doing good writing at breakneck speed? Yes? Good. I'm glad we agree. Wonderful. Continue.
We just made Mom. Yes, she is the cold,
Yes.
aloof Mom of the expedition.
Yes. Mom.
Yes, Corbin, please just go to your corner. I'm not reading that out loud. Knowledge and song keep you young, but cold water and scale keep you unaging. Met a few researchers like her, yes. People who are just very dedicated to their personal interests. Her Titan is basically a familiar... Yeah, isn't it? It's a familiar taken to like a spicy 13. It's been absolutely cranked up. I mean, this thing is in itself not going to be weak. It has to be, but it's going to be able to handle a lot of psionics, a lot of information. It's not going to be a brawler, but it's still not going to be a little.
It's still a heavy class.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy class library. It's a mobile library.
It is. It is essentially a coral bed that has
All right,
been
let's write about
fitted
it.
with legs.
Okay, let me
I mean,
copy.
this is what you're
from-
describing,
Let me copy from over here what we wrote up on.
and I'm here for, by the way.
Right, let's write a little bit about this type. Okay, so taxonomy. I feel like this one's going to be a heavy, slow swimmer, perhaps,
Yes,
because it's
yes,
designed
yes,
to be
yes,
able to work within Suleian's libraries.
It is a Suleian design. More than that, it is a Suleian design.
Heavy
Salation design,
swimmer.
not Suleian.
Neck. Okay. My God, Sarah, that is stinky. I have been gassed, chat. I'm gonna die again. Heavy, slow swimmer mech with large, underlaying jets for endurance travel. Again, it's going to work very similar to the Tide Warden jets for long distance, but it's a swimmer. It is going to be a modified model, heavy. It's not going to be a combat mech. It's going to be, if it's a research mech, it's going to be an industrial mech, but it's in the research group. Industrial research mech. I'm going to call it a cargo, omni cargo, adaptable pattern.
It's a resonator. Sorry, this is a coral resonator. It is a heavy class coral resonator field library mech of
Library.
Salation design.
Paragon. Old and well defined in mental patterns. Is it a chimeric mech already?
Yes.
Or is it a case of this one isn't a chimera, but it will become when, you know, part of it is taken back? Or is it already a chimera? And do we have problems when you try to splice chimera to chimera?
No, that's the entire thing. You don't have a problem, but you have to make sure that it doesn't create a problem.
but it does create a divergence. So if you're trying to get something and you're splicing the wrong thing, then you're not getting the thing you want.
Hmm.
It's not going to go insane. It's not like splicing two humans together.
Yeah, I was just
But
wondering
what
if
you're
what rig do you want to go down? If you're going to have either you can't splice Chimera and Chimera, it causes problems, or we can go it doesn't cause problems, but perhaps you have to make sure they have the same resonance, so that it's a smooth addition.
I think that unless you even out and smooth it out, it's going to take a lot longer.
Okay.
Like the downtime until they integrate and do their thing is going to be longer. But essentially, you can't break coral unless there's some sickness involved. Like that. It's not programming, it's organic. It will find a way to integrate, but you might not like the result.
Okay, so it is already a Chimera, and it will go for anybody who I think somebody was asking what's going on with the whole Chimera thing. Chimera mechs are mechs that have had more than one Temps coral core, so they've had other Temps corals from other mechs spliced into them to expand their experience and knowledge and etc. So it's a Chimera. It's got more than one personality core or parts of a personality core. No, you do not need any more teeth, Corbin. You've got more than is, standard as is. You have a excess of teeth, a plethora of teeth, more teeth than the average. Teeth for days. No more teeth.
He's got a plethora. Specifically, he's got a plethora of teeth.
Yes, no more teeth.
Which is no more teeth. Got it.
Achieve less teeth. Can we see the mech designations we were up? You absolutely can. Give me a moment to find where I put those notes. Down here. Here we go. Here are our things. So, propulsion. We've decided that this one is... I'm now looking at the wrong one.
Is it a jet or a swimmer?
No, I'm looking at the right one. We decided that it is a swimmer, but it has jets for long distance, but they're not. It's, when it's doing mech things, the jets are offline because that will cause a problem. You don't want jets in a library. But if you need to get from point A to point B and you're a heavy mech, you might need a jet to help you get there. Could possibly be that... I think I know what I want to do. It's a heavy, slow swimmer mech. It doesn't have jets of its own. Can attach large jet peripherals for endurance travel. So when it's in travel mode, the mech has these jets that attach to it. Once it gets to where it's going and it's doing things, you take the jets off because it's not going to need them while it's at home at the library. So they are a peripheral that can be attached. It has mount points for them. You remove them once it's then doing mech things.
Okay.
I think that'll be interesting design-wise. Modular, thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
Modular, yes.
Okay, so we decided that.
We can attach more brains to it.
Yes. Usage, it's going to be an industrial mech. It's for working. So I'm happy with where we've gone there. It's a modified model, heavy industrial research mech, omni-cargo adaptable pattern. This particular one has a modified hold for Temps coral collection and stabilization. A secondary hold for other artifacts or materials. It also has a modified rear cockpit storage well for databanks. For databanks. It is a research server mobile mech, a mobile library mech. It is an awakened field library. So we've initially said Chimera. When we were talking about weight class, we know it's a heavy. Resonance, so it's not going to be a basic. We know it's awakened. It's definitely at least awakened. Principles is an aged or extremely psionically powerful titan with a complex personality. Chimeric is when it's had more than one coral core splice, so it has threaded personality and intelligence. So it needs to be at least a principle or a chimera.
I leave it up to you. I think it might be fun, but again, this is really up to the crowd. If this is a principle that's going to be made into a chimera, like it wasn't playing.
Principle that becomes a chimera, I think, would be really interesting because again, it's allowing us to explore. For our audience who doesn't know what the hell we're talking about, it lets us show the audience. Let's put it to a poll. We'll let chat vote on it.
Okay. Is
our mech.
We are getting into the third hour of our little Peter Pan.
An aged principle, or is it a chimera threaded personality?
A venerable principle or a threaded chimera. I do believe it's going to be fun when we're going to have some people with opinions about what chimera are. And
it's our world. They're what they say we are.
No. In-world opinions.
Oh, in-world. Yes.
It's fun when the people inside you, the world you made, are arguing with you.
Thank you, Mayhawk, for gifting 5 subs. That is extremely kind of you. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, gosh. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we have gift subs going on. Is out mech.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't even notice the typo in the poll title. Deal with it, chat. What's our mech going to be? Vote away. Is it going to be a principle or a chimera? Corbin, shut up!
Does Corbin know?
I'll tell you what I'll do, Corbin. I will fix it when you decide to return to posting. How's that? How's that for a bargain? I get to know what the bloody hell Ragnar's been doing for the last 6 months. 4 years game time, and I'll correct a spelling mistake for you. That seems perfectly fair. I also misspelled other. Look, I apologize.
Do you really?
He discovered Pokemon and became a fat weeb. No! How does he even have Pokemon in the middle of rural Scandawegia where you're hiding out? There's no signal out there. Try again. Apologies to chat who has no idea what's going on, but yelling at Corbin is my weekly vent session and then get out of this. There's no signal. He can't connect with a VPN if there's no signal.
I mean...
Eric, shut up. Don't try and help him. He has to figure this out on his own. I don't even know if he's in the current multiverse version of the world where satellites are even a thing. He could be in prehistoric Earth for all I know. Corbin's been doing shit. Always right with weirdos, chat. You'll have a lot more fun. Alright, chat has decided that we have a venerable principle.
Okay. I'm here for it.
That works for me. It is an awakened field library. There we go. Principle. Old and well-defined in mental patterns. Okay, now we need to give it a name. What are we going to call this library thing? If it's not had any splices done before, it will still be a 0-0, won't it?
Yeah, but it's going to be But has the chassis been destroyed and re-implanted?
Good point.
If it's venerable, I'd expect it to be at least a 50X or even a 12X. I mean, if it's a venerable one, it had been around the block. The chassis may have been destroyed.
Okay, we'll make it a 50X.
50X.
It's a venerable from Suleya, so
Mihani. I'm trying to think about, is it a verb? Is it a... Mentum. I mean, it is a library.
here's a library.
It is the guy. It is the mech that does the thinking. So it's Mentum.
50X Mentum. I'm going to give it a nickname. Echo.
Sure.
50X
Mentum
Echo.
What is mentum? It is to think in Latin, essentially.
All right, let's describe.
It's like cogito. It's like cogito or cogitem.
Hi, Sarah.
No.
All right, let us describe it. Okay, Echo is a large mech with spaces in its
Doctor Who has
chassis
demanded the petting.
for storage. I can administer a petting while we think about what this mech must look like in the time that we have left before next week. Echo is a large storage. It is low center of gravity, whale-like, as that is where it was commissioned.
And that also explains the modular extremities,
Yeah.
because
It has
salations and there's sacella.
Extremities, and for all, Echo doesn't change its modules often. There we go. Often it has the modules it needs to do its specific job. The capacity is there, as its model is a very adaptive one overall. This kind of mech is not uncommon and used in many fields. I'll have a think about exactly how this one should look as we put it together. Its repositories are what matter most. It will probably need a degree of end effectors and a sensory suite to be a good researcher. I'm just very aware that we've got about a quarter of an hour left, and I want to think about its history more than its look, and talk about where we're going from here. So let's talk about what went on here. So this mech was commissioned many great years ago by Suleya, specifically to serve in its central library. It is a venerable mech by this point, with a long history with many pilots, and is very well trained and versed in utilizing coral technologies and researching. Echo has a great wealth of knowledge it can recall off its own back from all this time, but is less experienced in physical sensation and recollection and experience. That's a terrible sentence with 3 ands in it. I don't care.
Breathing.
I know.
No.
I know.
Breathing.
No dying. I know. Nobody will let me die.
I will keep repeat. Repetitions will not cease, no matter how much morale improves.
Echo has a very clinical, personal voice. It was built... Okay, was it built in Sulea, for Sulea, by Suleans, or was it built elsewhere? I feel like it should also come from a forged city, as it's a standard modular pattern, and then was awakened in Sulea.
I think it was commissioned by. I think it was actually commissioned by the Sulean tank, the Sulean temple.
Yep. But
it was commissioned.
Yeah, it was commissioned, but built elsewhere.
It was built by Podlands.
Built by Podlands? That's an interesting idea.
Don't they have forged cities as well?
Yes, they do. I'll choose the city later. Okay, it was built by Podlands, transported to
Again, it's not a combat.
Cortices fitted and awakened in Sulea. It has served in the library
with distinction.
The one library its whole life with distinction. Expeditions are nothing new to it, though Echo does prefer to be at home with access to the grand temps of its home library.
I think it complains a lot.
Echo is known to complain a lot, but it's affable complaining.
Yeah, it's like you can't. You know that when the old guy is grumbling, and you know he's not wrong, but also, could you not?
Built by Podlands for cephalonids to use for Salacians. Yeah, I feel like though with it being a modular Titan, it has options for who pilots it. It currently has a cephalonid pilot, but I bet it's had other species pilot it in the past.
Yeah.
Echo, home is where the sci-fi is. I hate you, but that's also really clever, and I really like it.
I adore it.
It's gonna have markings on its side that say that.
Yes.
Echo has markings on its chassis that say.
Why did he hear Aiden in the back when Victor mentioned? Well, Aiden might exist in the general idea, but I resent you portraying Aiden as anything but an excellent person who understands the merits of good grumbling.
You've got to have a good grumble. Good grumbles are very, very important.
It's an important art, and I will damage people for disparaging it.
All right, so where we're at, where I foresee us going, I am extremely pleased with where we've gotten to with everything. I hope you're very proud of yourselves, chat. I think we've made some really good characters that will let us tell the story that we're wanting to tell. We now know them well enough. I need to come up with a name for the Temple Guardian. I can do that off stream. We now know them well enough that I think what we need to do next week is really buckle down with bullet pointing out what our story is going to be and the beats that we want to hit, and that will be a really fun stream. And then the week after I won't be here, but that puts us in a position when I am back in November to actually start writing. We'll have everything fleshed out, we'll have the ability to begin creating together, and if I use this week to work on Shoal, everybody will have that information in front of them while we're working through the order of events and then into the actual narrative. You guys will be able to pull up the compendium, you'll be able to pull up the book sheet information. I will try and stick the Aeon timeline up there for anybody who wants to get that program if they don't have it, to be able to look at that as well. We can put that into there. That puts us in a really good position next week for some real good narrative construction. And then in November, which is National Novel Writing Month, we will do some actual writing. And I think that will be really, really fun. I mean, I'm extremely excited. I hope you are, chat. This is my passion. I do appreciate you all being here every week. There's a lot of people for just talking about our weird world building and the crazy things that we do.
I'm doing some really awesome shit.
I'm very proud of us.
Where the shit post is taken seriously.
Yeah, I mean, we started in January with a blank page, and look at us now. Look at us now.
Look at us designing temple guards of composite chimera mechs that we know how they look, how they operate, and by Jove, do they extract lightning with copper wire or electrodes made out of amalgamated salt resin? Why? Because we can.
Because we can. Yes, it's wonderful. I'm scared because that means I need to get more of my stuff finished. No, it doesn't. The compendium hasn't got to be completed and finished, and we have everything in place for next week. Please work at your own pace, Ed. We do not have a deadline on when the human section of the book needs to be done. What we need is to be able to represent Jake effectively, and we'll all be here to discuss that together, and one character is a lot easier to handle than the entire species. I think we know what we need to know so far for managing that. Please do not feel pressured. I don't think there's any need for any pressure on this. We've done well. It's been a good 10
I agree,
months.
and also, Ed, if you want to sit down and do some more theory crafting, well, just saying. Mm-hmm.
Blackfire Gaming says this stream helped me clear some of the mental logjam on my own time. I'm very pleased to hear it. When I get this stuff up, Blackfire, if it means that you can, sort of detail what you want your Latical's rather unique mech to look like, that gives people an opportunity to then draw it if that's something that you'd like. Yeah, there's no pressure. We are doing this for fun. Because we're passionate and because we enjoy being here and because creativity is the real world magic humans have. The ability to write something down and translate an idea that lived only inside the black of your own head into somebody else's head in a way that they can visualize it, build on it, understand it, be there with you. That is magic, and only humans can do that. As intelligent as many other animals are, as much as I love animals, we're the ones that have this unique ability to do this, and it doesn't work if you're not passionate about it and if you're not enjoying it, and if you can't enjoy the process of sharing with others. So there's no pressure. We're going to enjoy ourselves. We're gonna write a book over Twitch, which is the dumbest thing I think we can possibly do, and I'm very excited.
Well, it should be.
Yes, Verathragna. I'm not going to read that out because it doesn't make sense if you can't see the words, but yes, that is in fact the opposite of magic. Right, it is time for us to get out of here because Striker will be joining you guys on the top of the hour, and it's important you guys get the chance to use a restroom, grab a drink, and I am out of Striker's way when he gets here. Anka is currently not on my lap, so I might be able to get, the spooky end music to work properly this week. But we are going to get out of here, and I will see you guys on Sunday night for a particularly special edition of WBPLW. I will not give away details, but the admin chat for that stream has been interesting the last few days, so I do hope to see you all on Sunday. Any last words, Lictor?
No, I just want to know if there is a request while you are in position redacted. I'm going to ask the crowd to chat with me and tell me what they want to know and what we can talk about, because I have ideas, but I want to know what chat
If you want to take my stream slot, that would be fabulous. We will need to speak to the good Sir Bear, Mr. Diggington, and make sure you have all the accesses that you need. So we'll get on that.
We will do that. But if they're up to it, I'm more than willing to chat their brains out.
So there you go, chat. There will be a stream on Halloween, and Lictor will be unsupervised, which is the spookiest thing of all.
The only person in the stream who doesn't celebrate Halloween, who has no Halloween festivities in his country at all. We don't even grow pumpkins here. I don't know what you're all about. So I'll just be bringing you fashionable old Jewish demons instead.
That sounds very interesting and fun. Anyway, we need to get out of here. Have a good one, chat.
Bye.
Ciao.